diaspora to take the next step, taking citizenship, doing something substantive on the continent. So that was too much time. Please let's invite Dr. Maulana to take the
Good afternoon, my brothers and sisters.
Good afternoon.
I have the singular pleasure of introducing a very special gentleman. A gentleman who is a scholar, a teacher, a historian, and a pillar in the community. When it comes to resolving some of the issues that we're talking about, when it comes back to the education that needs to be done to overcome all the miseducation of centuries. A very special gentleman. I'm going to go through a little bit of his background so you understand what he's been through. Any of you who work for the community, who do community work, will know how hard it is to work for our community, because sometimes it's work that doesn't come with immediate reward. It's work that doesn't come with immediate recognition. In fact, when you start doing things for community, you might be seen as a cycle until the ball gets rolling and then other people start saying, oh, that's what he's talking about. But this gentleman, as far back as 1975, came to visit Africa. In 75, he had already organized a trip to the US for Senegalese businessmen, and that was to Cleveland, Ohio in 1975. They were able to meet with the Honorable Muhammad Ali. That's as far back as 1975. But in Ghana here, as far back as 1989 to 1994, he was a research fellow at the National Commission on Culture in Ghana. From 1991 to 94, he was a resident lecturer at the W.E.B. Du Bois Center for Pan-African Culture. And from 1991 to 2007, he was the founder and lecturer of Pan-African Culture Studies based at the W.E.B. Du Bois Center for Pan-African Culture. I started to know him in 2002, 2003, when I started to see him on TV. He used to do a series on TV Africa, educating Ghanaians. I don't know how many of you would have been able to grasp that back in 2004, but that's as far back as when he started on TV Africa. In 2014 is when he set up the Ministry of the Future, which is a very, very important institution in terms of where the problems of the black man and the black woman are concerned. So in 2014, he started the Ministry of the Future, and in 2015, he initiated a policy strategy for Africans from the diaspora to get Ghanaian citizenship. So by himself, he drafted a draft policy, which he took to the Executive Secretary of the President then, Ambassador Nikwesi Kwate, who happens to be the former chair of the African Union Commission. And by the Most High's will and by our ancestors' vindication, there were 34 Africans from the diaspora that were granted citizenship in 2016 on the 28th of December by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. And that was all from the initial work that Dr. Maulana had done. On the 28th of December, like I said, there was a presidential order giving the right to return, because he's the first one who started speaking about this right to return, which was that people were taken away from this land out of their knowledge and out of their will, and they had a right to return. So this is not about refugees, it's about people who are violently removed from where they are, and they deserve to be able to go back without needing a visa, without needing any form of the regulations that needs to come about for international travel, because this is a home. He continued that work in 2017, even despite the change in government, got rallying again to deal with new governments. People, you know how it is when there's a new government, you have to start again from scratch. Go start speaking to them and engaging with them. And in 2017, he began the process for pursuing Ghanaian citizenship for 200 Africans that were born in the diaspora. And on the 27th and 28th of December, for the first time ever in 2017, he initiated a festival which is the Right to Return Festival, the Ministry of the Future Right to Return Festival. And it's the first time the African diaspora has had a double festival like this. It's celebrated at the Asin Mansu baths, and that's where we have the mortal remains of our Jamaican sister and mother, Minion Phillips, as well as our African-American brother, Sonny Parsons. So those two ancestors' bodies were returned to Ghana and were buried there. And the festival happens on the 27th and 28th of December at the Asin Mansu, what they call the slave baths, but that's something else because we were not slaves, we were normal people who were taken away in violence. So ladies and gentlemen, there are still lots and lots of Africans in the diaspora who are looking up to him in the work he's done. I know many of my friends who've now become Ghanaian citizens, and it's all because someone had the mind frame to be able to dare to engage government and to be able to get them to deliver on that. So please, let's give a rousing applause for Dr. Maulana.
Thank you very much, Brother Bafua. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, all of you and those from the diaspora. I am pleased to see you here. If this is your first time coming to Ghana or Africa, I give you a big akwaba. But this is your home. I myself, I have been on the continent since 1972. So it's quite a few years before some of you were even born, I'm sure. But nevertheless, we are Africans. And I heard in the discourse here, one mentioned that the color of the skin is the foundational basis of who we are. And of course, Marcus Messiah Garvey manifested that order over 100 years ago. That, you know, if you're a black man, no matter where you come from, you're an African. You understand me? But also, I'd like to add to that. To be black, yes, it's a supremo. But there's a spirituality that goes with the blackness. Because there is ethics and morality that is inherent within that blackness. Yeah. We don't do just anything that others do. We do what the Most High has created us to do as gods and goddesses. So blackness in itself is not the only key. There's that moral factor and the ethical factor that's intertwined with that blackness. And that's how you carry yourself, and that's how you get the protection of the Most High. I don't want to go into too much, there's a lot to talk about, but the main purpose of me being here is to dilate on the effectiveness of the work that I'm doing. The effectiveness of the work that I'm doing, as Brother Bafua just mentioned, is getting our people to come home and not to be seen as cash cows, not to be seen as a monetary factor, but to be seen as kith and kin, part and parcel of this land. And I am under the absolute understanding, with the experiences I've had on the continent, that Africa cannot rise unless the African diaspora is integrated into this society. Africa cannot move. She cannot move without the African diaspora. I'm telling you that. I'm telling you what I know. You can placate yourself all you want. Africa is not going forward until she gets the African diaspora to be integrated without fear or favor back into this society. We are the people that's going to rebuild Africa. We are the people with Africans are going to make Africa great again. Yes. So I want you to understand that. You have a right to be here. Just like the brother said a moment ago. I didn't ask to go to America. Malcolm X said, nigger, get in that boat. We are going to take you to America. I didn't ask to go there. That means I was already a citizen of this land before they kidnapped me, and they kidnapped me. They kidnapped us and took us over there. So governments here have to be sensitized to the fact that we must have the right to return. We must not be standing in line with the Chinese to get a visa, with the Russians to get a visa, with the right thing. No, we must have preferential treatment to walk into our motherland, because this is the source of where we come from. And if you don't understand that, you will always be seen on the outside looking in. So brothers and sisters, I want to tell you, as the founder of Ministry of the Future, and those of you who are here right now, that may be thinking, and think very carefully, because the area of where you are in the world, it is a sacred land. You don't know the lineage of us as a people. You don't know the lineage of the tribes, so-called ethnic groups that are here. We are the people by association, or by extension. The 7 tribes of Israel are right here in Ghana. The 7 of them, they are in Ghana. And the ones that were taken to America is one of those tribes. And the white man, the British, the Portuguese, the Spanish, they all knew what they were doing when they were taking us. They were not taking trash. They were taking God's children, children of the book. And we are the children of that book. And the world has been waiting for us to return for over 6,000 years. We have come full circle. Now is the day of full circle of the return. And I'm telling you, the year of return, it didn't fall from the sky. The year of return came as a result of 35 to 40 years of hard work on the ground, talking to governments, educating Ghanaians, because the white man had miseducated not only the African diaspora, but the white man had miseducated the Ghanaian as well, and the Africans as well. And so how are we going to make a re-entry back home when the people who are at home don't even know who we are? So we had to go through a process. I spent 35 years, I'm telling you the truth, and I'm not the only one. There are other African diaspora, courting the government of Ghana to say, give us the right to return. We did it under the late J.J. Rawlings. He worked with us. It didn't happen. The next government that came in, Kufuor, they gave us the right of abode. I told them, we don't need the right of abode. We need the right to return, not a right of abode. So finally, under His Excellency, John Dramani Mahama, he listened, because he's a historian by profession. And that was what the brother who introduced me said in 2016, we got the right to return and citizenship. And then subsequent to that, in 2019, in the year of return, my organization was able enough to get 232 Africans of the diaspora, many of them African Americans, their citizenship. And we have right now another 400 waiting to get citizenship. So if you're going to call the earth and try to Caucasianize the earth or whiteize the earth, you got to get rid of the black gene first. But they can't do that. No. The black gene is the one that brought them on the planet Earth. So if you get rid of the black gene, you're going to get rid of yourself as well. But they are in the process of doing that. And my message goes out to the diaspora. Because some very, very dangerous things are about to take place in the United States of America. And let me tell you, in the ghettos that the brother was talking about, in the inner cities, you don't have no way out. But here on the continent, you got room to maneuver. You got food everywhere. You can go to the bush. And this place, as I said before, and if you think I'm lying, go to your Bible. Go to your Bible. Don't just do like the Reverend ministers do. They go buy the Bible. but they don't go into the Bible. They go by the Bible. Go to the Bible and look at Psalms 84:11. Psalms 84:11. And you will know what I'm talking about on where you are geographically right now in Ghana. And go to Genesis chapter 15, verses 13 and 14. You will know what I'm talking about. So, with that understanding, I would think you would be about the business of the diaspora of trying to reconnect with your family for protection. Because when you go, if you're from Seattle, I come from Los Angeles, if you're from Chicago, you can ask any American white man, be it Irish, Italian, they say when they get tough and rough, they're going back to Ireland. When they get rough and tough, they're going back to Italy or Britain. Where is the African American planning to go? Back inside the ghetto? When they put tanks, the wake-up call was in the Watts riots of 1965, way before your time. There was another wake-up call with the hurricane that took place in New Orleans.
That's where I'm from.
Do you understand me? They were telling, it was a dress rehearsal.
Yes.
And they're getting ready now for the final countdown. Where are you? Do you have a plan B? If you don't have a plan B, call your chaplain and have your chaplain to give you the last rites. Name the Father and the Holy Spirit. Yeah, if you don't have a plan B. And the plan B, you should try to get back to Africa. Get back here while the climate is conducive to receive you. This is the only place that is going to survive the world Holocaust that is coming. This is the only place that will survive the African continent below the equator. I'm telling you, even the Europeans know that. And that is the reason why they're trying to come down here now. Is they know the safest place on the planet is below the equator. 15 degrees on the northern side, 15 degrees on the southern side. And Ghana is in the center of the earth. And do you know, in the Bible, New Christian Standard Bible, it says in Exodus 8:22 in that Bible, the New, not King James, New Christian Standard, it says, God says, I have a home in heaven, which we all know. And I also have a home on earth. And my kingdom on earth is in the midst of the earth. What does midst mean? Where is Ghana located? Come on, tell me, where is Ghana located on the earth? So Ghana is the home of God on earth. I'm telling you, most Ghanaians don't know. Most Ghanaians don't know. They're still dreaming. They're still dreaming until you start talking to them to get them to wake them up. But what I'm saying, this is the place. I'm saying Ghana is the gateway for you to come in. You don't necessarily have to settle down in Ghana because the continent belongs to all of us. You may want to go to Nigeria, you may want to go to Ethiopia, you may want to go to Senegal, Gambia, Guinea. But Ghana has opened her doors. And brothers and sisters, this is what you need to be thinking about right now while you are here. Connecting to find a way to become a Ghanaian citizen before you go back. And what I have done for Ministry of the Future, I have brought applications here. If any of you want to sign up with Ministry of the Future, we have the application. And we do to make you a member. There are conditions. And we design our own citizenship application that government accepts. So right now, government has passed a legislative law. And the law will be inactive. It will become active, rather, in January of 2022. And this new law is for, and I'm telling you what I know, because they called me into the office of the president in May of this year with my lawyer and asked us to make submissions into the legislation of that law before they finalize the print. And I told them, do not finalize the print until you qualify who the African diaspora is. Because do you know, the Europeans have a trick right now to avoid paying reparations. They have removed the traditional name of the African diaspora, who everyone knows who that is. And they have made continental Africans who are running for economic reasons to Europe an African diaspora. They have made those who are running because of civil war. But nevertheless, we told them, we want you to put in there the descendants of the transatlantic slave trade. Those are the original African diaspora who were snatched from the womb of their mother and taken into captivity for over 400 years, and now they have returned. And government accepted that, and the law will be called the Ghana Homeland Return Act. They have told me, brothers and sisters, my time is to be wrapped up. I saw the signal in the back, but I'm saying I can go on and tell you more, but I would encourage you to become a member of Ministry of the Future and take applications with you here, sign up, and so when you go back, you can start making your plans. When it breaks out over there, you have a place to go. You have a place to go. Because if it breaks out and you do not have a place to go, at 11:59, before the clock strikes 12, you're going to call, is this the Ghana Embassy in Washington, D.C.? Are you issuing visas to Ghana? And why you got bombs and everything? No, you don't want to wait at that time. You want to make your preparations now. An ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, Brother Arhi, on my closing words with the short period of time that I have to say, the only thing that I can say that I think would be sustainable in your mind is that the African diaspora, along with the African on the continent, we are the people in the book that these religions are talking about. Not those imposters in Israel. They are not the people of the book. It is us who they are talking about. Even the United Nations has admitted that. The only scientific historical proof that they have of people that spent 400 years in captivity and suffered under slavery are the Africans that were taken from the African continent. Yeah. Even though you have an allegory, a biblical story, and some of those books have been tampered with, believe me, to say the people in Israel, the white people there are the original God's children. Brother, you would have to have water in your head to believe that. When the living proof is all around that we are the people. Even King Solomon was black. All of the ancient kings were black. The land of Egypt, Hamet, was black. They gave the Western world the mathematics, the science, and the medicine, and everything they know. It comes out of the black race. We are Alpha, we are Omega, we are what was, what is, and what shall ever be. Nothing comes after us. I'm telling you, we are the people, and you have to understand that. So on that note, let me close. I think, to be fair, Arlene, there should be a few minutes of questions. So ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for your time. Don't forget about Ministry of the Future and the application. May God bless you. May God bless you. May God bless you. The floor will be open for questions and answers, I suppose. Yes, sir. Yes.
Does the Ghanaian government require you to be able to prove that, your ancestors actually came from here? I mean, as far as tracing out, like all this ancestors?
No, the genetics, or whatever they talk about, DNA, that's not required here.
It's not necessary.
No, the only thing that has to be substantiated that you are a descendant of the transatlantic slave trade. That's the only thing, yes. Yes, please.
Thank you very much. I want to, there's been so much talk about blacks in the diaspora and it's been hard to look for over 50 years. I want to know from your experience, what do you think is the problem? We haven't had any tangible results.
Wait a minute, but make your point. Come again with your point.
I'm saying that we have been talking about integration, unity, part of the law. Since I was born, I mean, I've read the books, I've studied some of the challenges, but I want to know from your experience, what do you think is actually the problem? What is fighting against the fight?
Why we have not been able to unite earlier?
Yes.
Yeah, well, let me just tell you. That's a very good question. See, we have to talk facts and get down to the nuts and bolts. The white man could have never come into our land if we had been united in the first place. Do understand that? We have our differences here, so I'm trying to answer your question. Until we can get rid of the nonsensical, tribalistic views that you are an Ife, you are Ashanti, the Ife was you're a tribesman with you for money. Until we get rid of that nonsense. You understand what I'm saying? So we have been working on that. You see, the first thing, if you heard me at the outset, one of the things I did say at the outset, if you didn't hear me, I said I had to start with the educational process, even to explain to my brothers and sisters here who I am. Because many of the brothers and sisters were saying to us, or me, oh, you are an American. But they were saying it in the context that you got Americans by natural different colors. Not realizing that there was a slave trade. They didn't know anything about it. And so you have a proverb here. Now you know where I'm coming from. Until we get rid of this nonsense. If you're on your way to church on a Sunday morning and you see a white man cross your path, you can turn around and go back home because you've seen God. You see, this is what the missionaries did. The missionaries set up their educational institution to dehumanize our brothers and sisters here and also by dehumanizing the ones on the other side. So we have to go through that metamorphosis, almost through the same fire we went through to get over it. We have to come through the fire to get out. It's relative in its manifestation. You're not just going to do a hop, skip, and a jump and say unity. No, we have to unravel, and it's in layers, in layers, in layers, in layers. We have to educate. Education is paramount. That you should be as in Ewe in the Bota. And there should be no difference in you going to Kumasi. You should be a Fanti in Elmina. Be no difference in you coming to Accra or amongst the Abangbe, amongst the Grobo. You understand what I'm saying? But until we can get that orientation entwined, that we are one people. Because when you leave here, and one of the brothers said that earlier, when you leave here and you go out internationally, you may leave here as an Ashanti. Yeah. But when you go out, you're a nigger. So they're telling you right then and there. So we have to unite at home. Charity begins at home before it spreads abroad. So what it is, the thing right now is simply this. The most difficult thing, but we are making progress, is the African. See, it's not that the African of the diaspora is coming to teach the African here what is going on. No. It's not about that. The African of the diaspora, by virtue of the fact, has lost the language, lost the culture. But they have been incentivized to gain many skills and to gain the understanding of the Western philosophy. So it's a 50-50. We got to come back on a 50-50. It's not me talking down to you, and it's not you talking down to me. We're talking to each other. This is a collective thing. And I will tell you, the 50 years that you're talking about is eclipsed at this moment. When the year of return was manifested, many of the people were looking at it only from the monetary perspective. But let me tell you, there is the physical in the world, and there's the spiritual in the world. And this movement of us coming home and Africa being free is not physical. It is spiritual. Now you may not understand me. This is a spiritual war. A spiritual war of the mind. And so what I'm saying, the 2019, the year of return, it is eclipsing. We have crossed over. And now what has to be done now is the integration. The integration. Because the African of the diaspora, in many instances, because of the westernization in America, has gotten the wrong perspective view of the African on the continent. The African on the continent has been looking at BBC, CNN, and saying, well, all those people over there, they're wife beaters, they're all on cocaine, they don't give a damn about family. All of it is lies. And now we are seeing the truth. So the truth is, we got to sit down now and break bread together and talk about our problems without any other alien being in the family. It's up to us. The only solution to Africa's problem are Africans. Africans have to solve this problem in Africa, no others.
Just a follow-up. What's the Ministry of Future Relations to the diasporan elites? As many would say, some of them are reluctant to
I think they're very different. You know, let me tell you, black people, it seems like it's germane to all black people. We have a tendency not to move on things until somebody lights a fire and put the fire underneath our butts. Once the fire is underneath you, oh, you say, fire burn. So what is happening in the West right now with the racism, the killing of George Floyd, the policemen shooting down blacks at random, because white people know their time is up. Only people that go mad killing people is know that they don't have a tomorrow. And so they are exercising their last rights. But what they have found has been a blessing. I feel for our brothers and our sisters who have been murdered, but it's been a blessing. They have awakened the consciousness. Black lives matter. Black lives matter in America. Black lives matter in Africa. Black lives matter in New Guinea, Australia, wherever black people are. And so the elite you're talking about, they've been shaken. They said, oh, we've been hoodwinked. We thought we were equal to you. And the white man is showing them today, no, you can never be equal to me by virtue of who you are. So now they are coming. They are coming. We have many on our list. Do you know the chairman of the board of Republic Bank in Ghana? You know Republic Bank? Republic Bank used to be household finance. And Republic Bank is out of Trinidad and Tobago. Mr. Bernard LaPont, the chairman, we got his citizenship in 2016. Now, how much more of an elite can you talk about than the chairman of the board of Republic Bank? So the elite blacks are now looking, but what we got to do, there's a lot of work that the indigents have to do. You've got to work hard to sensitize government, because many of our government, I don't have to tell you, political science students, you should know. You know what I'm saying? But it is a process where you no longer can sit back and wait for Kwame to make a move. The question now, the onus is on you. What are you doing to change the narrative of Africa? That's what you got to ask. What are you doing outside running your mouth to change the narrative of Africa? What are you doing to change the narrative of Africa? Because let me tell you one thing. This is one thing very passionate to me. It is no matter how the sons and daughters of Africa are wealthy. You can be billionaires. And you see, like in America, the former National Security, Condoleezza Rice, the former Chief of Staff in the National Security, Colin Powell, who just died, the former President, Barack Obama, they still look at him as a nigger. Do you know why? Let me tell you why. As long as your mama's house is in abject poverty, as long as my mama is in the village and she doesn't have the necessary things she needs, no matter what suit I put on, no matter what Cadillac or Mercedes-Benz or Rolls-Royce that I drive, they're going to look through me through the lens of my mother in the village. You understand? And that's what happened to China. China went through that same metamorphosis. And that is, my philosophy is, we must now bring about the Africanization of the mind, body, spirit, soul, and natural resources. We must bring about the Africanization of the mind, body, spirit, soul, and national resources. That's what China did. What do I mean by Africanization? Africanization is this. You see somebody, what kind of clothes do you want? Are those African clothes? Oh, well, you know. What kind of shoes are you wearing? How do you make love? Do you make love as an African or do you make love as a European? All of these things have to be questioned now. Yes, that is the Africanization. Africanization of mind, body, spirit, soul, and natural resources. Yes. Until you can do that, we are just talking and whispering Dixie. We ain't going nowhere. Africanization. Africanization should be the prima donna in your mind, body, spirit, soul, and natural resources. I mean, the gold that we have in Ghana. Ghana has the richest gold deposit than any landmass in the world. Do you know that? Yeah. We have more gold in Ghana than we have in South Africa. So we must look at the Africanization of the resources of Ghana. Cocoa, one of the most expensive commodities in the world. Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire are the #1 producers of cocoa in the world. Is it Africanized? Go over to Nestle's. Go on the motorway where Nestle's is and see what Nestle is based. Nestle's is based, I think it's in Switzerland. Is that right? Yeah, and they control the chocolate. Until President Cooper came, and I thank him for that. He said, we are now going to start processing chocolate here in Ghana. These devils wanted to take all the raw cocoa and ship it to Europe. Then they process it and then sell it back to us. Absolutely. You understand me? So Africanization of the mind, body, spirit, and soul, and natural resources. How do you make love? Do you make love as an African, or do you make love as a European? Answer that question. If you can answer it, then I know where you're coming from.
Last question.
The floor is still open for any submissions or questions. I'll do my best to answer, please. Yes, please.
So I guess, well, thank you for everything that you said and saying it the way that you did. It's very powerful. And I'm just thinking about like my people back home in Seattle and in America. And I'm sitting here thinking, man, I wish I could share this sentiment, but I'm not going to be able to say it like that. I'm not going to be able to, you know? So like, what kind of advice or what's your message to us?
No, I'll give you a video
Okay.
of this particular proceeding.
Okay.
Because I got my IT person in the back. And then let you share it with them.
Okay.
And then you can fill in the cracks and tell them what it is. But the emphasis, my sister, is simply this, is that you must encourage our people back in Seattle and throughout America, the African Americans, that they should look to the motherland for their home. It doesn't mean, we understand you can't just uproot and leave Seattle, but you should be going small. That's what we say here. You know what I mean? You should have a special fund of whatever monies that you make, a certain percentage of that money should be put into the African Exodus. The Exodus Fund for Africa. If you make $1, put 10 cents in their amount, because the day is going to come. I'm telling you, it is going to be a fulfilled prophecy. The day is imminently upon you, where you're going to have to make that decision at 11:59. And you at 11:59, before the clock strikes 12, if you're still contemplating, oh yes, I don't know, it's over with. 11:59, you should be on the airline. But I said, ladies and gentlemen, we're 10 minutes from touchdown in Accra. But you calling the Ghana embassy at 11:59, can I get a visa to Accra, Ghana? Is there any flights going on? And fire and bombs, and then the COVID military force, martial law. Do you have the jab? And we know in that. I don't want to go into that. You coming from the U.S., I don't have to educate you. So brothers and sisters, the picture is clear. It is up to you. If you don't do it for yourself, that's why I ask you, join Ministry of the Future. If you don't do it for yourself, do it for your children. Do it for your grandchildren. If you're not going to do it for yourself, make an action point for your grandchildren, the ones that you love. Because it's going to happen.
I believe it.
I tell you, by the grace of God Almighty, America is going down. It's going to happen. And you're not going to be, and it's not going to be 10 years from now. It's not going to be 10 years from now. This thing has been brewing. It's been brewing for over 100 years. And it's been going, it's been going, it's been going. Now it has reached the eclipse. And now they're trying to save themselves at the expense of you. Do you understand what I'm saying? I know I'm going to go, he says, but I'm going to take as many of y'all down with me as I can take you. I mean, they know that. And our people are still sitting back, party, party, party. If you understand me, get serious, please. Okay, time is up. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Sometimes, as they say, save the best for the last. You can see the energy and the ability. Please, can we put our hands together?